Hello, 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 hello. You heard that? That was the sound of a seatbelt. We call it, I don't even know what we call it. I don't know. A little gnat pop sound there in the background. But we're inside of a parking lot. We're going to travel. We're going to do some local traveling around our facility here. But a friend of mine, I'm not going to call him out by name, but a friend of mine got towed the other day, and Lauren just drove by going, loser. Lauren Melendez, our morning anchor. She's the best. Talk about welcoming someone into our circle that is just bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, positive light, and is really good at her job. Morning anchor Lauren Melendez. Phenomenal human and just really, really good at her job. And I tell you, that helps us out so much. It's hard to welcome someone else into a team. It takes time. We're all for it, but you get it. It's a team. And but when you get someone that is just so smooth to work with, positive, excited, and willing to be part of a team, that's what it's about. Gonna get me emotional this morning. Anyways, I had a friend of mine that lives in an apartment complex that's not a cop. Because first I was like, well, if you were a cop, you would have known this. Or if you would have just taken some time to review your lease, things like that. However, they got towed. They live in an apartment complex that is gated apartment complex. And you want to talk about they were ticked off. So I want to go over a few different things today. This will be nice and easy, but I think educational, about how to not get your vehicle towed. There are a few things that are the crap I see, guys, on the road. E-bike just riding down the road, no tag on it. E-moto, excuse me. We're going to go over that soon too. Difference between an e-bike and an e-moto, specifically for parents, because I think you guys are getting done over on you by your kids. Anyway, getting your vehicle towed can be very stressful, but there are so many things that I don't think a lot of people are aware of when it comes to private property that you think is public property. Okay, we're going to use a local neighborhood as an example. I do not know the rules of this neighborhood, but as an example, all right? So say you live out in a community similar to what we have all around Central Florida. I'm talking these nice cookie cutter, basic lifestyle communities. And now, don't get me wrong, I love a good Florida cookie cutter community. Why? Because they're easy, they're well groomed, you don't have to worry about anything, but there does come some extra responsibility as a vehicle operator that you need to know about. So when you live in a community like this that we're driving in around here, did we pass through a gate? No, we did not. But technically we're on public roadway, private property, with public access. So these are publicly maintained roads, okay, but have property on them. So there is a chance that there is an HOA or property management that does govern how things operate out on a property, okay? So it's even more strict if you're in a gated apartment complex, all right? So when you sign your lease agreement, you are also signing a very strict set of rules that you're going to abide by when living in that property. But Steve, it's my car. Yes, it is your car, but you are placing that car onto privately maintained property, meaning there are a set of strict rules that you're going to have to abide by. Some of those that can get you towed: expired tag, flat tire, improperly parked vehicles can get your vehicle towed. So I want to give you an example. I received an email saying, hey, my tags are expired, and the courtesy officer gave me a notice, not an official, but a warning saying I'm going to be towed if I don't get it fixed. Is this legal? Now, it's legal based off of the property. It is not a legal document. They're going out of their way to let you know, yo, your vehicle's going to get towed here. I've been tasked with informing you. We're giving you a heads up. You're under a different guidance. You're under a different rules because you're located on private property. So you have to be careful with that. Let's go out to the public roadway and talk. Oh, that's a big cat. Look at that cat. Just chilling. Hanging out. It's got a collar on it, so it's probably someone's cat. I love how everyone's just out this morning, walking their dogs, hanging out, enjoying the sun. But, so, that's the big but, is if you are on private property, you're governed under such specific rules. When I was a full-time trooper, I was a courtesy officer in an apartment complex over at Lake Nona. I was employed off duty by that property management company to govern laws on that property. There was a memorandum of understanding saying that property gives us permission to enforce those laws. Here's the caveat. But Steve, what if they don't give you the permission? That's fine. Then you are probably under a contracted tow company. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm not here to knock on a specific tow company, but it is what it is. These guys aren't going to go as in-depth on verifying certain things as a law enforcement officer will because they don't have the access to it. What do I mean by that? If your tag appears to be improperly displayed, no license plate, it's in the wrong spot, they're looking, they're towing because they're going off the rules based specifically from the management property. Make sense? Okay. Now let's talk crashes. Anytime you're involved in a crash and your vehicle is like, I'm not going to go. That was a tricky one there. Almost went, and then my body said, no, don't do that. Involved in a crash. Law enforcement will clear your vehicle because it is impeding a public roadway. All right? So if you want to have your own vehicle towed, it must be there within 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Or law enforcement will tow it from a reputable tow truck that's on their tow list. And then from there, you claim it with your insurance, and you're good to go from there. So I'm going to slow down here, let this guy go on in, because it's about being kind out here on the road, guys. And why not clear some traffic out for everybody? Also, you've seen, I know people complain to me all the time, Steve, I see cars on the highway all the time. Why don't you just tow them? Well, there are rules. So we have limited access highways out on the road. If you leave your vehicle abandoned for an amount of time, the highway patrol or a road ranger is going to give you a courtesy warning, and it's going to call what we call red tagging your vehicle. So it's putting a notice on that saying, hey, you have X amount of time to remove the vehicle. If it's there and we come back, we see it, we're towing it. Steve, I walked out of my house. My car's gone. I walked back out to the highway. Don't walk out to the highway. My friend brought me back out to the highway. My car is gone. Don't freak out right away. There is a chance your vehicle was towed. What? You're not going to just call every single tow company. I'm going to make it real easy for you. All you have to do is contact your local non-emergency number from the local law enforcement. So you're not dialing 911 unless you know the car was stolen, all right? But you'd notify your local. So if you lived in South Daytona, if you lived in Kissimmee, if you lived in Winter Garden, you'd contact your police department. And then I just realized my ID's hanging this whole time. Your police department, and they have a registry, the abandoned vehicle list. Tow truck drivers are required to notify law enforcement when they tow a vehicle because they know someone's going to come looking, right? They have a list. They can run the tag. You give them the information. They're going to be like, hey, XYZ Towing towed your car. This is where it was at. That's all their involvement. You can't start hyping at the cops. Why? Because they didn't tow it. If they towed it, they're going to let you know. What else have we spoken about? The big confusion, I think, part is understanding the difference between public and private right-of-way and what rules regulate those areas. Going in a community, in an apartment complex, it's not just the law enforcement that you need to worry about. It's the rules of that said property. Reading signage when pulling into a parking garage is going to help you big time, because they're going to let you know, hey, even if you pull forward, maybe the parking garage wants you to reverse. There could be a weird set of rules, and ultimately, because you're on private property, your vehicle could be towed for almost anything. If they don't want expired tags, they're going to say, hey, look, this is an enforceable area. If you're a resident here, you must maintain the registration on your car. If they don't want a car parked from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. for 1 hour on this street, the sign's going to be there, and I guarantee you it's a moneymaker. It's not only just to keep, I don't want anyone to get mad for me saying that, it's not just for people to be making money, but it's to keep roads clear. But at the same time, there's a private company that's responsible for towing. You don't think that they're not going to be on top of their game about something like that? So just keep that in mind. And I'm going to also, 2 extra things before we wrap this up, I'll add, is tow truck drivers are part of our move over law. So you have to make sure that you give them space on the side of the road. But also to my tow truck drivers, you are not exempt from Florida traffic laws. Unless you are on the scene, you're not considered any type of emergency or maintenance vehicle. You're like everybody else. Your lights are warning lights. I say this because this morning when I was headed into work, John Young and Lee Road, a tow truck driver towing a car went around a parked car and made a left on a left arrow and just went. And it was like 2:45 in the morning. Made no sense to me. And I'm looking around like, just because you're towing a vehicle and there's no one around doesn't give you any rights to anything. Those are not red and blue lights. Those are like yellow, all right? So if you don't want your vehicle towed, make sure you're reading. And don't be ignorant. A lot of people were like, well, they didn't tell me that. Yeah, but you signed the lease agreement. In fact, it was probably explained to you numerous times. So if you got any questions, email me, asktroopersteve@wkmg.com. Make sure you're not leaving your vehicle on the side of the road. If you are, nothing says you can't go out of your way and notify law enforcement. Hey, my vehicle's here. I'm doing my best to get it out. And then maybe you won't come back and it's towed. Guys, don't get your vehicle towed. Drive safely. We got a jam-packed stuff going on. Back at the office. I'll see you guys later.